and the race for a top 4 seed and home court advantage in round 1 of the playoffs. With a win last night, Denver has moved ahead of the Lakers by a half game for the 3 seed with 3 games remaining. The Lakers are 50-28, 1 game ahead of Houston. The Rockets play the Suns tonight in Phoenix. They still have 1 more with Minnesota. The T-Wolves are in the 6th spot, 4 back of LA with 4 to play. Remember, the Lakers do hold the tiebreaker over the Rockets and Nuggets and Minnesota. So the furthest they could fall is the 5 seed. Now, this is going to be a tight race until the very end, James, and it's going to be hard to hold on to a top spot. If you go 3-1 in your Final 4, you have an outside shot, a good shot at 3, and a really, really, most likely a great shot at 4. So do you think they can do that?
You know, without, 3 of their major players and Marcus Smart, unavailable, we don't know or not. Yeah, I mean, it's doable, but I think they really need to focus on, just playing the best they can and stop worrying about guys out. It's going to be a challenge. You get LeBron back after this game. I think it's doable. You have guys like, Jake LaRavia, guys like Maxey. Guys are going to have to step up. Ayton is really going to have to, step up and increase his efficiency. He's going to have a tough one tonight against Oklahoma, but it's doable if they set their minds to it, play together, don't try to do too much individually, and, try to get a win the best way they can to elongate this until they get some guys back. Yeah,
and by the way, depending on what Houston does, even 2-2 could secure you the 4 spot overall. All right, let's head back to the studio to Ali and Brez, guys.
Indeed, thanks so much, Geet. We'll toss it back to you in just a couple of minutes. So, Brez, obviously, Denver, they've won 9 in a row. They've passed the Lakers, as we know, for that 3 spot. Realistically, it looks like a battle for that 4 seed, as they were just talking about from the arena. Houston's last 4 games, Phoenix, Philly, Minnesota, Memphis. For the Lakers, you have OKC tonight, Golden State, Phoenix, and Utah. How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, I think probably the Lakers are going to finish 5th just because, just lack of health is what it's going to be. Even though, I guess the good news in this, they were just in Houston a couple weeks ago and won 2 games in 3 cities. That's good news. Obviously, that roster looked a little different than the one that will be entering the playoffs. Hopefully, Marcus Smart will be back in a little over a week, about a week and a half. And, LeBron will obviously be there, too. I like what Mike Trudell just said. Okay, so say you draw the Rockets, even if you're the road team, try to elongate that series. Try to extend it any way you can. Maybe at least one of those guys comes back in like a game 5 or maybe even a game 6. So we'll be up to, like LeBron, Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton. James mentioned Jake LaRavia. He's a guy who has looked good in some spot starts this season. But for now, you just got to play the hand you're dealt. It has not been a good one for the Lakers. There's no doubt about that. And what's funny about the Denver thing, we just showed the standings. It's like, oh, they're only a half game behind the Nuggets, and they have the tiebreaker. What's the issue? Well, after, the next 24 hours, the Lakers obviously play a team that is still playing very meaningful basketball in OKC. And Denver gets to play Memphis. They haven't played a meaningful game in about 2 or 3 months. So it's probably going to be a game and a half if the odds makers are correct. And then you can pretty much say goodbye to the third seed or the 3rd spot after that.
This right here is the perfect example of just how hard it is to win a championship. Not only do you have to be great on both sides of the ball, X's and O's, but health, it does matter. I like what Big Game said. You got to control what you can control and see what happens. No doubt. Thunder and the Lakers tip things off at 7:30 right here on Spectrum Sportsnet. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the Thunder. They beat the Lakers by 43 points last week. SGA had 28 in the win. OKC looking for its 63rd regular season win tonight. Plus, Luke Kennard messed around and got a... It was a disaster for the Lakers on Thursday night in Oklahoma City. The Thunder outscored the Lakers by 43 points. OKC made 12 more threes than LA, also out-rebounded and out-assisted them by 12. OKC turned the ball over 8 less times and scored 15 more points than the Lakers off turnovers. When you lose by 43, obviously, Brez, there's a lot to improve on. Obviously, there was a lot that went into that game, but it was over pretty early before any injuries set in. In general, what's priority number 1 when you look at who they have available tonight against the Thunder?
It's like you read my notes. I mean, you mentioned that the Lakers did not get off to a good start. In fact, they were down 21 after the first quarter. What happened? They had 8 turnovers, and OKC made 7 threes. I mean, it's almost you know, a lot of that activity right there on your screen. Just too much, too many lazy passes, or, you know, give OKC credit. They're good on defense. They have been all season. This has been going on for a while, too. There's a reason they're the defending champions. Very, very good two-way players. And, you know, it was just too many points off turnovers, and the defense, too. Anytime you give up 139 points, that's a problem. But, of course, as we now know, you know, Austin Reeves wasn't 100%. Luka left in the third quarter. So, you know, it was a shorthanded Laker team by the time that game ended. And they were shorthanded when it began, too. There was no Marcus Smart that night either. So, you know, they got to clean up the first quarter. That's where you start for a game like this.
Certainly just doesn't help when you face a team that went 24-1 to start the season, and the defending champs. They have since turned things up here to close out the regular season as we send it back downtown to Crypto.com Arena. Big game with more on tonight's matchup with OKC.
All right, thanks, guys. Time now over here for a little Morongo Casino Resort and Spa.
Good times.
Good times indeed. Not so good, though, against OKC last Thursday. A lot of turnovers, as Brez and Ali just talked about. It led to a lot of OKC points. They got out in transition. Big game. It kind of bled into that Dallas game as well. Break it down for us.
Yeah, Oklahoma, a very good defensive team. If you don't meet their physicality or weak with the basketball or hold people off, they were forced turnovers. Let's take a look at the Access 360. You can see here, Luka. I'm sorry, that's Austin Reeves with the basketball. He tries to make a little pocket pass, but they do a really good job of getting back into the passing lane. And then when they get out on the break, the Lakers just can't seem to stop the break, collapsing the defense in the paint, getting it out the door, who I think was 4 or 5. He was hot. Here, Luka has the basketball. He's going to try to throw it over the top to Ayton, but you're going to see Hogan comes over the top. Hartenstein comes over the top because Ayton didn't hold him off, and then Hogan gets the layup. You got to get back on defense when you turn it over. Here again, Luka picks up his dribble. You see 2 defenders on Luka. LeBron is going to go to the open spot. Once he gets there, Hartenstein comes up. Now it looks like he has the lob, but doesn't throw it, kind of hesitates, that the defense gets back in there, and then they deflect it. Ayton can't control the pass. Again, we're off and running. No defense. Dort once again steps away from the defense behind the three-point line. Geeter, when you're playing against Oklahoma or a team that's putting pressure on you, you have to meet force with force. You have to make good passes, not lazy ones. You have to hold off the defender to make sure you can secure the pass. And if you don't do that, Oklahoma will get deflections. They'll get out on the fast break, and you're not getting back. They're going to eat you up. 18 turnovers. It cost them 24 points.
All right, James, so you're going into tonight. You're playing that same team that you just broke down. All hands on deck. Your top 4 ball handlers, 4, are out of tonight's game. So the question comes up, who's next? Who's got to take care of the basketball? Who do you rely on? I guess that's Luke Kennard, that's Bronny, that's Nick Smith Jr., Rui, LaRavia, whomever is in. It's a collective effort to play high IQ basketball, smart basketball. That means coming to passes, taking care of it, because if it's like that, it's going to be the same.
This is why you're in the NBA. You've been chosen to play in the NBA, and, you know, guys are out. You can't even think about who's out, and we're missing quite a bit right now. So whoever it's going to be, Luke Kennard has a lot of experience. You know, he's been in situations before. When it comes to youth, Smith and Bronny are going to have to think about not making mistakes, not trying to force the issue, and just playing without thinking. So I think it's possible, but Oklahoma is defending champions, Geeter.
So I believe we all had this game circled on the calendar as it was going to be close to the end of the season. Both teams playing so well, and Luka putting himself into the conversation, rightfully so, for MVP. Luka and Shea in a battle. Luka with the league leading 33.5 points per game. Shea's 31. Shea was shooting better from the field, 55-48, and better from 3, but Luka held the edge in rebounding and assists. Luka's now done for the regular season, James. He has to petition the NBA to even reach that 65-game threshold for postseason awards, because he was a lock for first team All-NBA. It wasn't a slam dunk that he would even get some votes or be in it. We all thought he would be top 2, top 3 for sure, but now it just feels like that dream is over and he's got to just worry about health and getting back.
Well, he was on his way to, trying to convince people. A lot of people say he was a distant third with MVP, but forget about that. He was really leading this team to a place that they haven't seen in years, Geeter. Playing well together, enjoying defense. Luka is becoming a better defender as well, and that's what we were all excited about. The chemistry, the cohesiveness, and where they had come from, and arriving at third in the West, and having home court advantage. You never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. You get past the first round, regardless of who you play, from game to game, things that would happen can happen, and I think that's what we were looking forward to. But now with the injuries, we have to, redirect our thoughts and our players and try to get the best we can out of what we have.
He absolutely deserved to be in that conversation. If you watch Luka on a nightly basis, just how much he does for this team in all aspects, an absolutely extraordinary season for him, and we hope he's in a speedy recovery and get back soon. Let's head back to the studio. Allie Clifton and Mike Breslin.
Indeed, thanks so much, Geeter. That's the conversation that we're going to have now, because there's an argument to be made that Luka missing these games should help his case for MVP. It certainly shows your value in situations like that. However, that's not how it works. But we know what Luka meant to this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty evident, obviously without him and AR and LeBron tonight as well. It was really hard for the Lakers to do a bunch of stuff the other night in Dallas. First and foremost, defense. And Allie, you broke this news to me about a week ago that Luka got some traction for Defensive Player of the Month back in March. Not just Player of the Month, because he was incredible all around on offense, but his defense has really been solid the last 4 or 5 weeks before his injury. And so I think now you're talking about a two-way presence, and that just puts a little more sting into everything. I mean, as if it's not bad enough that you lose a guy who was third in the MVP race, according to the odds makers, but he was starting to really come around defensively. LeBron was playing great defense. The team was playing great. 15-2 in the month of March. You and I have talked about that a lot, and it's already a week into April. We're still talking about that. But still, what can you say? And obviously, this team will miss him. Will it help him in the MVP vote if he gets enough games? If they petition those 1 or 2 that will get him to 65? Probably not, but still, we all know how valuable he is to this franchise.
Well said, and obviously the competition that he is up against, they're certainly doing their part as well, not making it easy either. Access rolls on after the break. Lakers sharpshooter Luke Kennard stuffed the stat sheet Sunday in Dallas. 15 points, 16 boards, 11 dimes. We'll see if he can continue to provide a spark with the purple and gold shorthanded tonight versus the Thunder. Plus, there were some good things that happened on the floor this week. We'll show them to you in the top 10 plays of the week coming up next.
Access Sportsnet Lakers is brought to you in part by Carl's Jr. Carl's Jr.'s new Western Bacon Chicken Sandwich with freshly hand-breaded all-white meat and just $5.99 for a limited